Hello and welcome to episode 2 of New Chapters, my 31-day series of mental health hacks. Disclosure up front, this episode is not going to be perfect. It's going to be so rough around the edges. So I am thanking you in advance for being generous and kind to me. I have tried to record this so many times and oh man, it's just not going the way I want. And you know what? That's okay, because ultimately, this is about showing up for you in an authentic way, not trying to be good, right, and perfect, which is how I've tried to live my whole life. And it really didn't serve me. It served me in some ways, yes, where I managed to outcreate and, do a lot of exceptional things, but didn't always bring me as much ease and joy. And ease and joy and living a life of expansion and more with more ease, more joy, more love, more happiness, more fun, more laughter, more money, more honoring relationships, more generative work and creations, and so much more. That's the energy that I want to live my life in and as, and that's how I want to show up as. So thank you for not judging. I am not so flawless delivery. Okay, so let's get to it. So I've spent the day having so much fun, just getting some really exceptional guests lined up for us. And I cannot wait to share the conversations with you starting tomorrow. But today, what's really important, what I've got to ask you before we get started, because if I don't ask you this, if we don't set the proverbial stage, if we don't set the foundation, then you aren't going to get as much from the rest of the series. So we need to start this off right. And by starting it off right, I need to ask you a question, a series of questions. Starting with, are you willing to be open and curious? To not define what you're going to be hearing from our guests, from me, as, oh, I've heard this before. Oh, that doesn't really make sense. Or, you know what, I don't really agree with him, her, or them. But rather stay in a space of, okay, that's interesting. Don't know if I agree, don't know if I disagree, but interesting. Because you've created your life based on your thoughts, feelings, and emotions that you've solidified over the years, right? Your patterns, the way you show up. Maybe you even say things like, oh, this is just me. This is just how I am. No, it's conditioning and patterns that because you've done it so often on repeat, over and over and over again, it's become part of your identity, part of your personality, part of it's just how I am. It's just how I do things. It's just how I show up. It's just the way that my life has been. What if now that we start changing that, everything else starts opening? And I've seen that happening in my life time and time again, and especially in the last year and a half. If you know what I'm talking about, you know. If not, I'll get to that in a bit. But you have got to be willing, and you don't have to. Let me stop myself there. You don't have to. I'm inviting you to be open to change, because if nothing changes, right? So are you willing to almost listen and hear with new ears, with a new perception, with an openness that maybe how you've been thinking, feeling, your mindset, your patterns, your habits, your actions, your behaviors, if they haven't helped you create the most incredible life that you absolutely love and thrive on, if they haven't helped you so far, then maybe it's time to choose something else. And that's the second part of this question. Are you willing to choose? Because choosing is what actually is going to change. We can hear things and say, yeah, no, I hear you. Cool, I've got it. Yes, I'll do it. How many times have you committed to do something and you don't? You know, like that diet that everyone's going to start on Monday and then Monday never comes. Or, I'm going to get myself back in shape, whatever shape that is. All bodies are shapes, but anyway. Or I'm going to commit to reading that book, but you never do. So what is the difference between that? Well, it's the choosing. It's the choosing to do it. And sometimes that choice is required to be done every 10 seconds. You've got to choose, because if you're so entrenched in your way of being, which you have been, um, we've been conditioned over our lives, and it's become part of who we are, how we show up. But if things need, I'm careful with that word, but I'm using it intentionally right now. If things need to change for you, if you are desperate for things to change for you, or even if you're just in a space of apathy where you don't really care anymore, nothing excites you anymore. It's like, it's fine. I'll just go to bed. I'll get up in the morning, go to work, make some money, pay the bills. Cool. This is my life. If you've resigned yourself to that, please, can I give you a kick up the wahoo? Because you deserve so much more. You know that I'm going to be your biggest cheerleader. You know this. And if you don't know this, ask the person on the screen next to you, because they know that. And I really, really, everything in me wants you to be able to show up as you, as the magic that you are. And you might not believe me. Doesn't matter. I'm the expert and I say it is, so therefore it must be. But really, how much fun can we have in creating our lives, and within this space, improving our state of well-being? Our mental, emotional, physical, psychological well-being, in every facet around that as well. How much fun will that be? That everything starts unlocking and opening for us. So I'm so excited to do this with you. Speaking of choosing, I wanted to just share the importance of it and just encourage you from a place of, I've been there often, and I understand how hard and challenging it is when life smacks you in the face with the chair twice. I get it, and more. Because a year and a half ago, my life completely imploded. If you know parts of the story, then stay with me. If not, here goes. My best friend, my husband of 10 years, well, 2 months short of 10 years, decided that he wanted to play house with someone else. I did not see this coming. I did not see it coming. I was completely caught off guard. And you might be thinking, P, come on, you're a coach. You should know these things. You should have seen it coming. Surely there were signs. There were signs, but there were also lots of excuses and justifications. And ultimately, I let myself down because I didn't trust my awareness. It had been so many years of just looking for the best in people and wanting to be good, right, and perfect as the wife, as this, that I stopped trusting my awareness. That's a whole nother fun story for another day. What I'm getting to, though, is my life completely imploded there. Everything that I knew as real and true wasn't anymore. I felt so betrayed. A pain that I have never felt before. I mean, and I lost my mom to cancer when I was 23, and that completely destroyed my life. But this was different. This is a different pain. This was intentional. So it was really excruciating. And why I'm sharing this is, throughout this entire process for the last year and a half, I've had so many people come to me when they found out eventually saying, well, P, how on earth, how have you coped? How have you managed to pull yourself together seemingly and so quickly? How are you still creating and not just surviving, but, thriving or excelling, or at least the appearance thereof? And look, I've had my times when I have been under the covers and turned my phone off and not wanted to deal with life at all. And what's kept me going is my monkeys, my girls that are sleeping next to me, my dogs, in those moments, and beyond. Look, aligned with my purpose, and I knew that that incident wasn't my whole life. It wasn't going to define me. But when you're in that spiral of emotions, that's what feels real at the time. So I've been there a lot, a lot. But what I also had was this incredible set of tools, which is what I'm going to be sharing with you throughout this month. And I had incredible support. You know, even as coaches, we go to coaches, we require professional help um, when I need an outside perspective. You know, things just weren't making sense to me. I was so confused. I needed guidance and support. So I went and found professional, intuitive support, which was incredible. So you'll be meeting some of those people along the journey as well. And the most important thing, and this is what I really, why I brought up choice, that you've got to be willing to look at things differently. And you've got to be willing to choose something different. Because that's what I had to do repeatedly. Repeatedly. You know, friends were saying to me, and out of love and support, and, you know, they'd say, P, apparently, according to research, it takes up to 5 years to get over a divorce, especially when you're the one that was left. And there's the one side of me that's the overachieving A-type student, perfectionist. That's like, there's no ways I'm wasting another 5 years of my life. Like 6 months, that's it. I'll be done and healed in 6 months. So that's what the goal was. And by 6 months, I felt so much lighter. There was so much more ease. And then something happened again, and it felt even harder the second time round. So I muscled my way through it. And with the tools, you know, you can have all the tools, all the advice, all the books, all the series, all the incredible people around you. But if you aren't willing to change things for you, if you aren't willing to choose something different, nothing is going to change. So as hard as it was, and I still do it sometimes where I catch myself, and I catch myself often right throughout the day. I'm like, oh, P, you're doing it again. Okay. What do I want my life to feel like? What do I want the energy of my life to feel like? I want more ease. That's what I really desire, is that ease. And I feel it in my body. And that's what I choose to focus my attention on. Where focus goes, energy flows. That's what you've got to choose. You know, and when that thought comes again that wants to slam you over the head twice with the chair, you catch it again, like, oh, okay, I'm doing it again. All right, what do I want? This. And it's exhausting. It's just like throw the cushion over my head and scream into it, like, okay, enough, I'm done. I'm so over this. Please, I'm so over it. It was brutal. And I'm not saying that maybe, you know, hopefully you aren't going through or haven't gone through something as traumatic. But whatever it is for you, know that yes, there are the tools. Yes, there's the support. But you are the most powerful creator in your own world. You're the one that makes the decisions on what you want to choose, how you want to live your life. Do you want to undo everything that you've become? There's that beautiful quote that says, it's not, maybe life isn't so much about becoming who you think you're supposed to be, but rather unbecoming who you are not. And that's what we want to explore. And that's that question of staying in the space of curiosity and possibilities, because from that space, there's a little bit of room and movement to breathe. There's a little bit of ease. There's a little bit of, like, you know, wiggle room. Because if you're going to stay so solidified in, I believe this and I do not believe this, and this is the way it is, nothing's going to change. I'd appreciate your views. I'm excited that you're here, but this isn't going to support you then. So that's my ask of you today, is what do you need to reframe for yourself? Because it's that filter that you're looking through is how you're going to filter everything. So right now, no. You might have to say to yourself, okay, I know that I sometimes, think negatively, or that that's just the way that I think, or I look for the flaws. Whatever that internal voice is, your natural bent, those, not the rose tinted glasses, but the tinted glasses, whatever that is that you're looking through, just be aware of it. That's the start. Be aware. My awareness is this. And then you'll see it's going to start getting bigger as we go through the series, is you'll start catching yourself like, oh, interesting, I'm doing that again. Okay, what do I want to choose now? I want to choose this. And this will start making more sense as we go through it. This is just the intro. If it doesn't all make sense right now, that's okay. All I'm asking for today's session is just that you stay open, that you commit to being in a space of curiosity and fun and play, because that's where we create from, is from fun and play, not from seriousness and thinking. Trust me, my whole life I've been the thinker and trying to solve my problems with the same mind that got me into them. That's not what we're doing here. So I'm so excited that you're here. Thank you for staying. Thank you for playing. Thank you for choosing you, and keep choosing all the time, every 10 seconds, if you must. That's something that we say in Access Consciousness. Choose in every 10-second increments, because sometimes that's all you've got to hold on to. I hope this was a contribution. I adore you. Thank you for being here. Tag a friend. I would love to hear your comments on what's come out for you. That's how we commit to ourselves. Sitting in the back row of the cinema with popcorn in hand, it's not an immersive experience for us. You've got to put your hand up. You've got to say, hey, and even if it's just for you, you don't have to put your hand up here, but energetically put your hand up and commit to take what you can. Be a sponge. Stay in a place of curiosity, and I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow with our first guest. Thank you for being here. Bye.